Welcome to part 2 in this series, which features the restoration of this desk here, this roll top tambour desk dating to the early 1900s. Hopefully in this episode I'm going to show you how we go about restoring the repairs, so the repair side of things. So this drawer here, for instance, there's also a missing section here on the front of this pen tray, this decorative detail here. So first of all, what I need to do is measure up what I need and then source the wood for it. Now luckily we have a huge great container full of broken down antiques, if you like, that were way beyond restoration. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure up, and then I'm going to go in the container, source the timber, hopefully it's all going to be oak, and then we'll crack on with the repairs. I didn't know. So anything to 150. Just going to measure up for what was a drawer here, but I've spoken to the client and they're just not worried about having a drawer, they just want a dummy face. So we are going to find, just so handy, it's 2 foot wide, and I'll find a piece of oak to fit that space. So I think it said 650 by sort of by 150. Okay, so we've had a good rummage around in our container there. As you can see, that container is pretty much full of period furniture, or broken down bits of period furniture. I had a rummage around and I found this lovely old piece of oak here, which will do wonderful for a match for the little pen tray fascia. So there's plenty enough there. I might make 2. Depends. Let's see how we get on. I might make 2 and then replace both of them so they're exactly the same. But it looks pretty close anyhow, to be fair. It looks really good. So that's that one. I found this lovely piece of oak in there. Had a bit of a life. I don't know what this came off of. It's got ring marks on it, so it might have been part of a table. But this will be perfect here for the false drawer. We'll go in there. I'm going to need to plane it down and size it so get it the right size. And then I found this piece of oak, which actually isn't too old, but it's perfect for this drawer face here. So that's all the major repairs that I can see at the moment that we need to do. Let's crack on with it. Okay, so here's our piece of oak that happens to be pretty much exactly the right thickness that I would like. And well, basically I'm going to trace around it. don't know if you can see that, but you can see where I've traced around. Now I'm going to extend those arcs here, that serpentine. I'm going to bring it out to here and to here. And the reason for doing so is when actually, in a minute, when we use the router, I've got this area in front and after the area that I need. So if there is any sort of jerking, any movement that's going to somehow sort of mess up this piece, it will be done on an area that I don't need. And that will lead in to follow this serpentine here. I'm now going to mark on the other end. I'm going to mark it here. So when I clamp it to the table, I can clamp it down here really securely and go around it with the router. And I can flip it around and do it this way. So let's mark the other one. So you see this area here and here is going to be waste areas. Right, so let's make our way over to the bandsaw. Okay, so you've just watched me cut out the profile of those little drawer faces. You can see here, this is the wood. I've just cut it in half. If I place them together, you can see there's a perfect match there on that sort of serpentine profile there. Oh, one thing I must just mention, when using that bandsaw, we did take the guard off and the blade guide was also raised, so you can get the camera angle. So normally we'd have the blade guide right down close, and also the protective plastic fence that comes down over the top. So just for camera purposes, we took those away. Now I'm going to router out the profile here. I think it's like an OG profile here. So that's the next thing. Right. So I've placed the two pieces together so they match here. The reason for me doing that, so I don't get it wrong in a minute, when I use the router to router out that profile, that cove sort of profile there, that when I flip it over and do the other side, I've got a left and a right side. So I'm just going to screw them together. Maybe smaller screws. Okay, so I've clamped the piece to the table with this big G-clamp. Eyeglasses, ear defenders. We've set the depth of the router to the right height. We've tested it. Hopefully this should be a little perfect piece of router work. Let's go. So here are two fascias. I'm going to cut them off on the bandsaw, and then we'll do some final trimming up, maybe a little planing, just to make sure they're the right size. But I think we've got them.
Yeah.
So now we move on to this drawer that was. So there was definitely a drawer in here. We know that the client doesn't want a new drawer put in there. He's quite happy with a dummy face. This is the piece of oak I've selected from the container. We now need to shape it so it fits nicely in here and it blends in as if it's been here for the best part of 120 odd years. So I'm going to put this through the planer thicknesser and then we're also going to do a little bit of router work on it as well in shaping. It's not essential that everything is square, so when you're watching me do these repairs, and I know there'll be cabinet makers and joiners and other people out there who are precise woodworkers, this is not about precise woodworking. We're replicating antique furniture, so it has to look like it's been there for years. So not quite square, not quite exactly right, is exactly right. That's what I would want. That's what I want to see. So let's move on. So it's just gone through the planer and now you can see the true colour of this oak here. You can see it's got a bit of age to it. And now we're going to mark it out for this false drawer face. So you've watched me mark out half of this false drawer face, which is really actually going to be more like a sort of a uniting rail, because I looked at quite a lot of desks and a lot of them had this sort of more of a sort of a uniting rail rather than a false drawer face. Anyway, so that's what I've decided. I think it will look good. I'm going to use this grease-proof paper to trace across the surface and mirror it to this side, so we've got a mirrored image, so hopefully when we router out the shape it will look fairly uniform. Right, let's get on. Okay, so we've marked up our piece of timber. I'm now going to trim it here on the saw, and then I'm going to go through with the bandsaw and cut out the shape, and then we'll detail it afterwards. So the next piece we're going to do the repairs on are for this drawer. I'm going to knock apart the drawer so I can get access to this drawer face, and then we're going to plane up this block of wood, join it to the face, and then shape it so it blends away. Hopefully you won't be able to see a thing, but we'll see. Okay, so now we want to repair this drawer face that has been fractured out, as you can see here. I have had to remove, you can see here, there are holes where nails have been hit through and into the dovetails. They're the bane of all furniture restorers, nails going into joints, because you can't necessarily always see them. We spotted them at the last minute because often you'll try and force a joint apart and you're trying to work out what's going on. There's a hidden nail and it just destroys the joint. So nails, a real pain in the arse really, but we've got them out and I'll have to make this better at a later date. So now I need to tease apart the sides to release this face. And another thing, so instead of just getting at it and going bash, 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 and percussion hitting it away, I'm going to use this cramp. I'm going to slide it in and force it apart carefully without all that percussion and potential fracturing of a joint. And you can see how easy actually it's come apart straight away. Well, there you go. So this side, straight away. Now I've got to do this side, which I am going to have to tap because I've got nothing to have any pressure against. Unless there's another hidden nail. There is. Or it could be glued as well. So there could be glue in here, because there's absolutely no movement on this as well. So the nails have been put in after, and this joint has been glued. So I am going to have to try maybe a slightly different tactic, or just try and move it around the bench and tap it down onto the bench. Yeah, they glued it. So we did finally get it apart. It was glued. It glued so much that it did fracture a little bit of this dovetail here. The other option you've got when it's like that is you steam apart the joints. But given the age of this drawer and the nails in it, the chances of it being a reversible glue like we use, which is the Scotch glue, the pearl glue that we use, are very, very slim. We could have been there for ages with a steamer trying to steam this apart, and it wasn't going to happen. And it's a PVA glue in there, so it's okay. Nobody will ever see that. There's a tiny bit of the dovetail gone. It's a machine dovetail. You can see the holes there where going through where the nails have gone through. But we've got it off. So let's do the repair. Okay, so we have the drawer face off, and I need to have a clean face here to place our piece of oak up to. So we've already planed this, dimensioned this, so it's the right size for me to apply this to this drawer face. But as you can see, it needs to be better than this. So I need to get a nice clean face, but I'm going to try and keep this profile here. I don't want to take that away. So let's go through the processes of getting this nice and flush. Okay, so we planed off this rough face where the fracture was, and we got a nice clean surface. The piece of wood, that large piece of wood now has been dimensioned down to the right size, and I'm going to butt joint it together using holt-melt glue or scotch glue here, cramping it, leaving it overnight. So let's just get on to it. This is traditional holt-melt scotch glue, pearl glue. I've got to work quickly with it. I don't want it to dry. So what we've ended up with is like a festival of cramping. It's cramptastic. There was a slight twist to that drawer face, so I've gone mad and cramped everything. The cloth is just a dampened hot cloth removing the excess glue. Not that it matters really too much. So we'll leave that overnight, take it all apart tomorrow, and carry on with the repair. Okay, so 24 hours later, here we are in the workshop, and there's some cramping festival, cramping delight, crampathon. There. Just a butt jointed piece of oak, flush to the back, light sand there, and then we should go about trying to, I'll plane this down to the right dimension for the drawer face. Let's go on with it. So we've shaped this piece of oak on the drawer face now, and now I'm going to mark out where that missing dovetail is. I'm just going to pattern match it off this side here, and then I'm going to router the channel here for the ply drawer bottom. So let's go on. Okay, so I've now cut the dovetails for this drawer, although they were machined originally. I've hand cut them to look like machined. Also, I've cut the rebate out for the drawer bottom. Not the best of rebates to the drawer bottom, to be honest with you, but it works brilliantly well. And I think, well, I can show you actually. Let's, if I, maybe you can see that. I can just tap soft mallet. So there you go, that's that dovetail in there. Once we assemble the drawer, which I'll do now, there might be some fine little bit of tuning, but I think this one's near enough done. Now we'll move on to the next repair. Right, let's go for a glue-a-thon. So it's the next day. We glued this up last night, and now we're going to take the clamps off. Not that it really needed huge amounts of cramping pressure because the joints are holding it together, but nonetheless. There we have our drawer. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of planing here on this bottom edge. But apart from that, I think we're good. We're good to go. One repaired drawer. Yeah. Let's get on with the next repair. Okay, so our next repair is this tambour unit here. Actually, it's in not too bad condition at all. You can see how all these individual slats are held together with these strips of calico that we have here. So they've broken all in the same place. Apart from here, there's a little repair here. What I'm going to do is overlay calico inside of the original ones here. So I'm probably do 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. I'm not sure yet. But the rest of it's in good condition. So it's a case of lining this up correctly. And laying over the calico, again using our holt-melt pearl glue, which then will set and then will break tomorrow, so it all flows better. Right, let's get on. Okay, so that's our canvas, or calico, I think it's canvas that we've cut here and glued down with the Scotch glue. I've nailed the tambour to actually a piece of wood under here, just very tiny little tacks, just so I know that they are joined correctly, otherwise there's no way trying to keep it together. So we're going to leave this now for 24 hours and then we'll break the glue joints and hopefully we'll have a repaired tambour. Right, we're on to the final few repairs now. One is the face of this drawer that's in the pigeonhole. Again, this is the animal glue, the Scotch glue. Unfortunately, the camera died just at the point as I was putting the fascia on that drawer, but you'll see it a bit later on. So apologies for that, but you will see the drawer later on in the desk. So here's this rail that we've made that I was intentionally going to go for a false drawer, but we've made a rail out of it. It attaches to this dovetailed uniting rail that ties the two pedestals together on the desk. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on it, screw it together, and then we're off. So now you've seen all the repairs we've had to carry out on this period oak desk. The next episode will be us stripping the original finish from it and refinishing it. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button just down there and also hit the bell notification button to receive all the notifications when we upload a new video. Thank you for watching.